Welcome, patrons. Hey, Katie, it's been a while. Where did you go? Friends, that's a whole story I'll get into at the end of the episode. But for now, a casual segue into a question I keep seeing over and over and a quick topic that lets me focus on like a meteor one I want to get done later. So, what is Rook's title? Protagonist titles. If you don't know what I mean, of the 4 Dragon Age games, the first 3 all earn prestigious titles for their journeys. The Hero of Ferelden, the Champion of Kirkwall, the Inquisitor. You can also earn titles that are optional, like the Warden Commander of Ferelden if you play the Awakening DLC, the Viscount of Kirkwall if you side with the Templars, and the Avarmark First Thaw if you play the Jaws of Hakon DLC. But what about Rook? There's even dialogue in the game where Solas seems to taunt you about earning a title, and it was heavily used in the marketing for Veilguard.
They call me the Dreadwolf. What will they call you when this is over?
So let's talk about some options. Leader. Used more in marketing, Rook is the leader of the Veilguard. While this is true, in truth, I have an issue with the Veilguard name as a whole, and after writing and deleting a little rant on that, I'm just going to place that in a pocket for later when we talk about what the Veilguard technically is and the little lore we have of that name. But to sum up what I was going to say, the title of Veilguard feels grafted on in the last second of the game, with the only mentions of that phrase that isn't in the menus being item descriptions and a few ending slides. While I've been super busy and sadly am not as familiar with Veilguard as I'd like to be due to real life stuff, I honestly can't think of a single voice line that mentions Veilguard by name. So to make Rook's title revolve around something so grafted on feels unsatisfactory, and while it's true, I also don't like it. Champion. Now, a title that I do think is actually satisfying is an optional one. If you do enough side quests in the Crossroads, and in truth, I'm not sure what the exact trigger is, as again, I haven't had as much time in the game as I'd like, but right before the final climb towards Elgernon, Morrigan is there to present you with Felison's rune and calls you the Champion of the Fade. And I get why people don't love this one either, as not only is it missable, but it also sort of copies Hawke's title of Champion. To me, this feels like a secondary title like the other PCs can earn. A nice little bonus, but it's not going to be what they're mainly known for. So then, what is Rook's main title? Rook. I believe that their title is just Rook, a fond nickname you took from a mentor and friend. You chose to replace your own name with it. It's not a fancy title you earn through great works and acts of giant shows of heroism. It's something small and humble, picked for you because of how Varric thinks you act. And friends, that's the whole point of the game. It's my belief that Rook not having a title isn't something that was overlooked, but rather a feature. Rook is fighting beings worshipped as gods, and Rook wins. A mortal with no formal titles or riches, just a regular-ass person who stood up for what they believed in, and against all odds, Rook defeats them all. So let's listen to the conversation with Solas when he asked you about a title.
I am as I have always been, a man, all too aware of his failings, but equally aware that if he did not act, accepting the judgment it would bring, all would be lost. They call me the Dreadwolf. What will they call you when this is over?
I've got enough problems right now as it is. That's one for future Rook to deal with.
Pragmatism. You will focus on the present, knowing that someday you will face the consequences of your choices.
I don't care what they call me. If they're calling me anything, it means they're still alive. That's all that matters.
Acceptance. You are willing to face the consequences your actions may one day bring, because the world needs you.
I'm going to stop the gods my way, without getting thousands of innocent people killed.
Confidence. Certainty that you can do better.
If I may sum up the clip, Solas says he's not a god, but took action because he was the only one who could, and they call him the Dreadwolf for it. He wonders what Rook will be called now that they are in a similar situation, and Rook says, "Bitch, I don't give a fuck." I mean, there are different flavors, but the answers all amount to Rook believing that there are bigger problems in how they are viewed. In the marketing leading up to Veilguard, one of the points the devs tried to drill home was that Rook was unlike the other protagonists because they were not chosen. Like, the song that plays during Rook's intro is even called Not the Chosen One on the album. Even back then, during the media cycle, I disagreed with this point because to some extent, Rook is chosen like Hawke or the Inquisitor because they carry around the magical MacGuffin, have done luck, and are being used by Solas. what I believe the better way to phrase this idea is that Rook's arc is a commentary of the previous protagonist's arc. The Warden, Hawk, and Inquisitor arcs are all about the rise of power. The Warden's arc is the most pure in this sense. They rise to power, keep getting more powerful, and then either die at their peak point or are sent on an impossible mission that we never hear back from again. We know they travel and are largely away from their loved ones for long periods of time, so any emotional toll is implied and up to the player. Hawk, meanwhile, has the most similar arc to Rook, in that they lose their family in exchange for more influence and money in Kirkwall, but they continue the rise upwards until the literal explosion at the end. Hawk certainly has a downward fall after that, but one that is largely explored off-screen, their end either being dying to correct their mistakes freeing Corypheus or following the Wardens to keep them in check and honor the man who did sacrifice themselves to the Nightmare Demon. Meanwhile, the Inquisitor has the choice to either break down their own power or keep it but leash it to the Chantry. Their emotional toll of leadership is touched on a bit in Inquisition, but largely seen in Veilguard, when you have a one-on-one with the Inquisitor, and that might also depend on a few dialogue and world state choices. Again, I got rookie Veilguard numbers, I've been busy. Rook's arc, on the other hand, completely revolves around the emotional toll of leadership, with the climax being in the regret prison where they have a chance to process their failures. Unlike past protagonists that gained an army or knowledge for the final battle, what pushed Rook to victory was found within. Courage to stand up and a reminder that who they are fighting are not so different from them. And that's what I find to be the beauty of Veilguard. In my mind, Inquisition was setting up the idea that leadership is difficult. No matter how hard you try, things will get out of your control and sour. The Inquisitor is at the start of that journey and Solus represents the end of it. Rook in Veilguard is the alternative to that idea. Veilguard's core theme, I believe, is best expressed by the 3 people that Solus murdered. A leader will never really know what is good for the people. The people must fight for themselves. It might be messy and even wrong, but you cannot make those decisions for them. Rook is not above any member of the Veilguard. They are not above any of the faction leaders, or even random NPCs. The only power Rook needs is the support they get from their loved ones, who are as strong as you supported them to be, and that itself is enough to take down corrupted power from ages past. And in this day and age, I find there's something comforting in that message. And that, dear patrons, is all that I have on the meta of Rook's title. I also want to apologize for being largely silent all summer. If you've been keeping up with my posts on Blue Sky, you have an idea, but the gist is that I moved again, along with some health nonsense and also just kiddo not being in school for the summer, and part of my mic died. That's a long story, but it's replaced now, so I probably sound different. Or do I? I don't know. You'll have to tell me. So, yeah, but I'm back now and school starts, so expect more of me out of the coming months, hopefully. Oh. But yeah, anyway, what do you all think? Do self-lingering questions? Proof that I'm wrong? Comments about your own fan theory? Feel free to tag me at Dirthalen on Blue Sky, and the rest are all.